Today I'm being joined by Lulu Beatty, who's a former Carlton AFLW player, now currently playing at the Darebin Falcons in the VFLW League. Lulu, thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No worries. How did the footy journey start for you, Lulu, all the way back pre-Carlton?
I used to play junior footy at Northgate Junior Football Club. I played there from under 12s. I played with the boys, and then I played there for like 4 or 5 years, and then played juniors at Darebin before playing seniors and VFL at Darebin, as well as Northern Knights at the same time. And then I started on Carlton's VFL list and got elevated to their AFLW list.
That's good. How was it? Obviously you're talking about balancing Northern Knights, and then you mentioned about playing some VFLW games. Do you think that kind of helped you get to where you got to at the AFLW level by having that experience of a higher level prior to joining the AFLW at the time?
Yeah, definitely. It was good to play some VFL. In my first draft year, I didn't get drafted, but that was the year I played. I played 5 games of VFL for Darebin, and I think that was a really good opportunity for me to see where I was at against players who were a bit more experienced and like older. Playing against bigger bodies was definitely a step up from Knights and the level that I'd been playing at. But yeah, Knights is also like such a good pathway, and it was a really good step into sort of the professionalism that's expected at high levels.
That's right. You just mentioned too before about playing against the boys even younger. Was it ever daunting back then, or was that just something you relished, or was it something back then you didn't even really think much of? It was just the game of footy?
Yeah, I didn't really. I only played with them for 1 year, but it was like we were all so young then. I guess it didn't really make any difference.
Sure. Now you're obviously you're only 21 years of age, and you were on Collins' list for a couple of years. If you're going to talk about that draft period, obviously it's a bit of a complicated draft year because I feel like there was like 2 seasons in 1 year, and the supplementary draft to pick 5 you went. How was that period for you? As you mentioned, you missed your first draft. So how was it going into this second draft period? And did you ever think it was going to be Carlton? Were you kept in the dark? How was all that period for you?
Yeah. So I obviously was a train on. So I didn't get drafted in 2022, but got offered a train on position at Carlton, and I formed some really good relationships there and made the decision to then start playing VFL there because you kind of get told all these things, and like lots of people get told things and it's not necessarily true, but I thought I may as well give it a shot. And then I was lucky that I got another opportunity through that supplementary draft. Obviously that's not a regular thing, so sort of worked really hard towards that, and I had a few conversations with a couple of clubs. But I think it was mainly between Carlton and Gold Coast that seemed the most interested.
Okay.
And Carlton had the pick before Gold Coast. So so I was kind of rooting for that. I'd nominated national, but I would have preferred to stay, and I already had all these relationships with a lot of the players. So I felt like Carlton would have taken me, but I really wanted them to take me with that first pick so that I didn't have the opportunity to go to somewhere else.
That's true. Did it make it much more comfortable moving into Carlton? As you said, you've been to train on, playing the VFLW side, and everything like that in between. Must have made it much more comfortable going into your first year at a club that you're semi-familiar with already. Yeah,
for sure. I think it took away a lot of that sort of social anxiety of having to get to know everyone and make first impressions and stuff. I'd kind of been able to be a bit reserved and watch sort of how everyone operates. So when I came into that, I kind of knew who I would probably gravitate towards. But at the same time, there was a lot of turnover that year within Carlton's list. So I wasn't the only new person, and I made a lot of friends with the people who also came in, like Talia and Maddie and that.
That's good. And obviously too, in your first year, you had some injuries and you didn't get to play, unfortunately, in your first year, mainly due to injuries. Was it a hard time, you just joined the club officially and then you got through these injuries and didn't get to play in the first year?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like getting an injury in your first year is probably it's the worst, but it's also the best. You're still everything's still new and fresh and exciting. So you get to have all the new experiences. So I guess it kind of takes away some of that disappointment. And I guess once you get injured, you can only really control the controllables. So you can only do so much. Like there's no point sitting around and wishing that it didn't really happen. Like you just have to move on. So yeah, like it was hard at times and it was like a bit isolating as injuries are, but I think being my first year, it was still so exciting to be in a program. And like if there's anywhere to get injured, it would be in an AFLW program. Like you just have so much support around you and everything is a lot easier than getting injured at any other level.
I was just going to ask you because I remember when that period was happening, you mentioned in the club interview that you mentioned about it being a good experience. I was going to ask you what it was like, how it would be a good experience for an injury, but did it help you like create more friendships, get to used to the system? Is that kind of more where you're getting at in terms of saying it was a good experience that you got to settle in a little bit more considering you knew you weren't playing and got to adjust the level for that whole season?
Yeah, I think leading into before I got that injury, I had a lot of like performance anxiety and stuff. So I had like sort of that time to just take that step back from like that pressure to perform and like work on that sort of stuff as well in the background. And yeah, just like build my confidence up through training and getting a whole nother preseason in and, you know, getting like that fitness and that strength stuff always helps with confidence as well. So like, yeah, like obviously not a desirable thing to happen, but like you can still take positives out of it.
Sure. Now, obviously, in the game, all the games you played in your career, in the 6 games you played, what would you say some of your most memorable games in your AFLW career so far? Hopefully, it continues. Do you remember the debut game and what that was like?
Yeah, that was rough. We got pretty smashed by Hawks round 1, but yeah, it was pretty special to be able to play like my first eligible game to play, to get selected. And yeah, it was a cool experience. I feel like it was a bit surreal. Like that was like, I think that was the game that I played that had probably the biggest crowd. So it's kind of like never really been played in front of a like crowd of people before, which was kind of like, I guess I didn't actually notice it as much as I expected to. Like once you're playing, you're just playing, you don't really think about it. But yeah, that was cool. And then getting our first win in Mackay, that was pretty special. That was like a good memory and it was a good win as well. So, you know,
yeah, sure, that's good. Obviously, too, when you get told you're making your debut, Lulu, how did you feel in that moment? How did the coach surprise you? Was it in front of everyone? How was your debut announcement?
Yeah, it was like Carlton do it a bit different to other teams. Like there's no like social media around it or anything, but like just like did it in like the change rooms and like announced it. And yeah, I obviously got quite emotional and got like, you know, was very happy and very excited and everyone came up and like jumped on me. And so that was, yeah, a pretty special moment, like, you know, when a dream comes true. So
for sure. Obviously, it's never a good time for anyone to be told, you know, they're not going to be continued on at the club that you've been with for a while as well. So how was that moment you get told and how do you try and, you know, like take a positive out of it on the way out and try and get through it and hopefully rejoin that system in years' time?
Yeah, I think it's always hard, and especially like as a young player, it's hard. There's a lot of turnover in AFLW, so you have to sort of put that into perspective. Sometimes, or like talking to other people as well, like it's hard when you know, like, yeah, like I'm probably not at the level now, but you don't get the opportunity like you do in men's to be on a list for an extended period of time and develop. Really, you have to pretty much perform straight away. So I guess that's just the reality of where AFLW is at right now with lift sizes and everything. But yeah, obviously not news that you want to hear and you want to know that you have people in your corner backing you to get to that level. But yeah, I've experienced my fair share of setbacks and I guess it's always just a bit of a motivation to like once you come to terms with it, like if that's something that you want to keep doing, it's just motivation to like get better. And it's a bit of a reality check that like, you know, there are things that everyone needs to keep working on and you get more of an opportunity to work on that. I think away from a big program like that, you very limited to do sort of like what they tell you to do. But like sort of when you kind of step away from that, it's a lot more in your control. And I feel like I kind of like that on some levels, like I'm in charge of, you know, sort of the progress that I'm seeing in myself and that gives me confidence to be a better player as well.
Mm, sure. I'm sure it's something that you still want to continue to do, but I'm sure joining an AFLW list is still a priority for you, I assume, to want to get back
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, I would ideally, but at the same time, I'm really happy with where I am right now,
Hmm.
in a full sense, and I'm really looking forward to this VFLW season with Darebin.
Mm.
Um, so, like, in my ideal world, obviously,
Mm.
things don't
Yeah.
happen like that, but if I was to get on a list again, I would ideally after the VFL season, because, like, I really want to
Yes.
be here right now for my team, and I love my team so much, and I really want us to have a lot of success this season, and I want to help with that as well, so.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I was just going to ask you about that with playing in the VFL with Darebin. Obviously, you originally, as you said, pre-Carlton, you were playing for Darebin a little bit, and that kind of is that
Yeah.
what kind of made you pull back to wanting to go back to Darebin? Was there ever other clubs across your mind, or once the Carlton journey for now was finished, that Darebin was always the club you wanted to go back to?
Yeah, I sort of had a bit of a decision to make in terms of Darebin offer what a lot of clubs can't offer, but also they can't offer what a lot of clubs can.
Hmm.
Um, I think that at the end of the day, I had to sort of write down why I wanted to play footy and why I enjoy footy. And a lot of that, like, you can get that at any level. You can get that at club. You can get that at AFLW. It's really about, like, the team and the people and challenging yourself to be the best version of yourself and the best player you can be, and that sort of growth.
Mm.
And I think it was never for me. I didn't want to go into a VFLW season and my priority just to be to get back on a list. I
Yeah.
wanted to go into a team where our goal as a team is to win, and, like, we're doing
Mm.
that as a team and as a unit. And I think Darebin have a really strong history, which I've been a part of, and I've been, like, a big part of the local club and stuff as well. Like,
Yeah.
I've coached there, I've done a lot of work there, and I have a lot of connections there. So obviously that pulled me back, but it's just a big part of that is, like, sort of that community, and that desire to win for that community is, like, so much bigger. Like, those other clubs sort of, they get a bit caught up in the whole, like, they're affiliated with the AFL clubs, and it
Mm.
kind of loses some of that. I think the beauty of Darebin is, like, it's kind of like on a community level in terms of the connection that you have with all the people,
Hmm.
and sort of that you're all working towards a mutual goal.
Mm.
Obviously, I had to make that choice over, like, facilities and, like, things like that you get at those affiliated clubs. And I think the affiliated clubs that I talked to, they all sold it to me, like, we'll get you back on a list, like, and, like, that's all well and good for them to say, but really, like, they don't really have that much power in that. At the end of the day, if I'm good
Mm.
enough to be back on a list, it doesn't really matter where I'm playing. So they can only help me so much, and I think I wanted to play where I knew I was going to enjoy it and with people I knew I was going to enjoy it with. And that's the sort of culture that Darebin is,
Mm.
in my opinion.
That's good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they say they can sell to get you on. I mean, it doesn't guarantee anything. They sure may help to some degree, but yeah, it definitely doesn't guarantee for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, obviously, joining back at Darebin, obviously you didn't play last week. When can we expect you back on the footy field?
I'm playing tomorrow.
Oh, very good. So
Yeah.
it's good to have your first game in a while back at Darebin. Must be pretty cool. And face the Bulldogs at Wynn Oval.
Yes. Very exciting.
That's good. How are you feeling going in tomorrow? Obviously, have you had much of a preseason? Were you carrying an injury throughout the time? How's it been like now heading into this week?
No, I just dislocated my finger and
Oh,
broke it. So that was, like, only a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah.
but I'm just, like, just took a week off, like, precautionary,
Hmm.
making sure that's healing well. But yeah, I've had a full preseason. My body's been probably the best it's been for a really long time. I've done a lot of work outside of Darebin with MFP, Melbourne Fit Performance, and, like, been working really hard in the gym. I feel like my speed and my strength has really improved. So I'm feeling really excited for tomorrow. It's going to be a challenge. I think doggies are playing a few AFLW girls, so they'll look like a bit of a different outfit than they did last week.
Yes.
But I'm pretty confident. Like, we've got a pretty strong side. We've got a lot of experience, and we've played a lot of footy together, which, those teams that are playing AFLW players don't necessarily like. I don't know how much they're training with each other, but I don't think it's always an advantage. So I feel like we could have a good shot tomorrow.
That's true, and for sure. I mean, I was just going to say that because some clubs in the last season, I remember watching it very closely last year and covering it. Some of the clubs that brought back 10 players from their AFL affiliate, they doesn't guarantee anything. And I mean, it was really improved last year. And back in the last year, I think what was it, 4 wins or something like that, and there was a lot of competitive games. And the Bulldogs, they've had a massive changeover with players leaving there that were in their grand final side. So you never know what could happen, and it wouldn't shock me at all if you were to get the win.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, obviously, you said joining back to the club, the feel of the club and how good it is. How is the vibe heading into round 2, and how was it after last week against Sandy?
Yeah, look, like obviously, at the end of the day, we want to win, so it was disappointing. We kind of looked at it like it is our first game. We had a lot of players playing their first ever VFL game. We had a number of players playing their first VFL game for Darebin. At the end of the day, we had 24 more inside 50s than they did and still lost by 5 goals. So I think the things that we can fix are very realistic. It's not like we're not getting the ball in our forward half. Just getting those opportunities for shots on goal and then executing those opportunities. But that's like impressive considering them we like factor in that they were playing, I think 11 current AFLW players. They had about 6 or 7 players who were on AFLW list last year. And we've had like 3 players who've been on AFLW lists and none that have been on one for like 4 or 5 years. So we don't like, I think the difference was their skill level, their execution. Some of their goals they kicked were just really, really good goals. I don't think we beat ourselves up too much over it. And I think we showed some really positive signs, just like a little bit of maturity, but that'll come with just playing together more and more as a unit. But yeah, look, I feel like that's from watching the game. I'm curious to see what it's like on the field on a game day. Hopefully we get challenged tomorrow, but hopefully we also do really well and come out on top.
For sure, definitely. Are you expected to play in the role that you were planning to come as in the back line?
Yeah, I think priority position is going to be half back. But there's an opportunity for me to maybe play some wing, some other positions. So we'll see.
Very good. So obviously your time at Carlton, obviously you played mainly as a backman, and I feel like some of your strength was your tackling. What would you say some of your overall strengths as a footballer in general?
Yeah, look, I think that it's probably going to be a bit different at VFL. I've definitely gotten a lot of confidence over this preseason. So I think you'll see me trying to do a lot of run and carry, get some overlap, that sort of options. I've always had I feel like I'm a good kick, but like my decision making hasn't been great. So I've been really working on like my decision making. So hopefully that's going to be one of my strengths, is my kicking and hitting up options inside 50. So yeah, that's something that I really want to bring this season, and then just keep on bringing like sort of my come forward defense and pressure, because like that was something that was one of my strengths at Carlton.
That's good. Now, I'm going to ask you some teammate questions. I love asking teammate questions. Now, this can relate to Darebin, this can relate to Carlton, whoever you feel you want to fit under this category. Now, the first one is, who loves the limelight, the attention, the camera at either club, and they can't get enough of it, and they know what to do when a camera's around?
Oh, that's a tricky question. Okay, at Darebin, Taylor is a big fan. We actually recently had a TikTok go viral. And she was like the face of the TikTok and very popular in the comments. So yeah, she doesn't mind a little bit of attention.
How many views?
Pardon?
How many views did you pop off for that?
We got 2.6 million views.
Oh shit! Okay, well, impressive.
Really well.
You're famous, more famous now.
Yeah,
that's good. Anyone else?
I'm trying to think at Carlton. I feel like there's quite a few. Like, you know, they've really been through like the TikTok grind there as well. Brick and Keely love a bit of. I feel like they like their own TikTok account. They don't necessarily like being on the club media.
Not the club.
Mimi doesn't mind a bit of her time.
Interesting. Now, who would Google themselves and watch back their own highlights?
Probably from Falcons. I want to say Shannon Egan.
Mhm.
Which is maybe a bit of a rogue one, but yeah, I feel like she'd enjoy watching her own highlights. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I say this to everyone that it's not necessarily a bad thing, and too, it's like, I mean, if you got something good to watch, Lulu, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with watching it or
Yeah,
wanting to continue to watch it or even share it. Even if you do something good, why not?
Yeah.
So, definitely something you can get around for sure. Now, if you were stuck on a deserted island with teammates, Lulu, who are you bringing and not bringing, and why?
Okay. Who am I bringing and not bringing? Okay, so I'm probably bringing Bunks because she's a cool, calm head, and she's also like freshly a mum, so she's got some motherly instincts there.
Yeah.
Just feel like, you know, I'd feel pretty safe and secure if she was there. And then I probably wouldn't bring Chloe Kodagoda because I think I would just get sick of her.
That's fair. And I mean, you want to get off the island too. You don't want to be stranded there forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what TV show would you like to appear on, or a teammate? What TV show could you see yourself on or someone else on?
Oh, I actually haven't answered this way.
Okay.
We were thinking like who would go on like Love Island from our team.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I feel like we're saying like Lucy Burgess would go on Love Island and she'd cause a lot of drama, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, that shows, or that those type of shows are already so controversial, and you just spice it up even more and make it more dramatic or more whatever. I don't know what word you want to use, but even better.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Now, if three teammates were to form a rock/music band, who would be in that band, and what would that band be called?
Okay. I'm going to do it with Carlton players.
Yep.
So Meg Robertson would be in it. She'd be playing guitar and probably singing as well.
Yes.
Mim would be in it. She'd be singing, but like her mic would be off. And she's probably more like dancing actually. And then and maybe she's on drums as well actually. And then third member. Maybe like Darcy, honestly. I don't know what Darcy would play, but they'd just like pick something up, you know, and just like learn it, spend a lot of time on it, and be like really good at it.
That's good. Would they have a name?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one. You have to give me more time to think about that.
That's all right. Now, you mentioned there about singing and dancing. I was going to ask you who the best singers and dancers are at either club.
Right. Okay. At Carlton?
Yeah.
Me and Mim we were always singing and dancing. I think that we, you know, never have been afraid of sharing our voice with the world. So and we spent many times. We used to actually in the steam room, like not just us, other people as well. We'd do like a cappella in the steam room. So Carlton was always a really fun team because we were always singing and we were always dancing. So that's great. I feel like at Darebin, I'm yet to find my people. I sing a lot, and I'm just waiting for more people to join in. But I reckon Kaylee's got my back. She's pretty good. She doesn't mind a tune here and there.
That's good. So when's your new music track making its debut publicly?
Probably not for a while, but yeah, I'm not exactly the best singer. I enjoy it, but I can't really do it very well.
Okay, well. Keep it up. It seems good. Now, who are some teammates either at Carlton or Darebin that you feel fly on the radar a little bit and don't get talked about much publicly as you feel that they should?
That's a good question. Okay, I'll do Carlton first.
Yeah.
Fly under the radar. I feel like there's quite a few. I feel like in general, Carlton kind of goes under the radar a bit, but
pretty stacked midfield.
Yeah, it is a stacked midfield. I'd say probably. I feel like Meg had a really, really good first season and probably didn't get enough credit for that. Like, she was just very consistent. It's got a cool, calm head. I feel like, oh, I got it. Kira Fitzgerald. She's great. She is a really solid player. Just like really composed with the ball. Like, when I was not getting picked and I was watching games, like every time Fitzy got the ball, I was just like relief, instant relief. Like, I knew she'd take her time. She'd find a target. She's got an amazing kick. Her first game, like 2 seasons ago when I was inactive, I think she had like 7 disposals and was running at like 90-something% efficiency. Like, she
Nice.
really, really consistent, moves really well, like very agile. And I just don't think she like gets the hype she deserves. I think she's a great player.
That's true. And yeah.
Yeah, no, you go.
I was just going to say, yeah, we've mentioned Kiara as well, but Meg, yeah, first year, last year, I thought she was pretty good. I've not gotten to know for a little bit. But yeah, very good player. Definitely gone under the radar. You're talking about these rising star nominations. And I mean, the people that were talked about in that top echelon of categories, so Caitlin Surhoy, Matilda Schultz, and everyone like that was at the top end as well. I think Meg could have rightfully been in that same conversation, very consistent, and someone that could have been in that topic as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely deserved a nomination, I thought, at least. But, you know, maybe next season.
Yes, maybe.
And then at Darebin?
Yep.
It's kind of hard because it's like I want to see like the season unfold a little bit.
Yes.
I think also, like, I guess no one really gets that much hype in VFLW. I think Shan has had a really, really consistent career. She's a really good ruck, and she probably doesn't get as much credit for it as she deserves, but she is like genuinely such a good ruck, and then also like kind of like an extra midfielder the way she plays around the ground. So yeah, I think she's really good. I think unfortunately got injured last week, but Ella Southgate has a really bright career ahead of her. So she's a key forward, and she's been training really, really well. Has only played 2 seasons of VFL, so like she's got a lot ahead of her. Who else? I'm trying to think. I can't think of any more off the top of my head. But
that's all right. That's all good. Who would you say is the loudest and quietest teammates?
Loudest would be Kaylee. Kaylee or Ella. And quietest would be probably Bridie Groves.
That's fair. Now, obviously, in the AFLW, which you would have seen firsthand, some clubs have the music on the PA system when someone kicks a goal. I know Hawthorn have done it pretty regularly, and Brisbane doing the AFL as well. If you were to have your own song play on the big screen, Lulu, after kicking a goal, I know it might be a rare thing being a defender, but you never know. You never know. What song would you love playing on the PA system if you kicked a goal?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know who it's by, but it's called She's So High.
Okay. I can't say I know that, but that's okay. So I think it's a pretty cool idea that they do with the club. Some of them they do. I know Hawthorn, as I said, do it. I actually don't mind that when it adds a bit more theatre to it, I guess, and actually cool, especially if there's someone. So I know Anya Madonna from Hawthorn, she has the John Cena one. So I was like, when she kicks a goal, I'm like, all right, here we go. The Cena song's about to play 3-2, and then it goes, and like, there we go. There we go. That's good. Now, I like asking these hot topic food questions. People get so worked up, Lulu, I feel, over these food topics. Obviously, people get so controversial with some of them. So how this will work, there is 6 food questions. Now, no one's ever scored under 3, and I've asked over 150 people these same 6 questions. So no pressure to not get under that. So basically how you would get a point is if I agree with you, I'll give you a point. So the first one, and the most controversial one of them all, chicken palmy. Is it a palmy or is it something else?
Palmer.
Oh, shit. Okay, there we go. So, okay, all right, wrong. But, okay, I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to try and convince you to change. I know I probably won't, but I'm going to try anyway. So if you spell it out right, it's an I, right? And if you pronounce it, it's Parmigiana. Any reason why you go the other way?
If you pronounced it, it's Parmigiana.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Again, like I said, I won't agree, but there we go. Right, 0-1. All right, the next one, pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
No.
Good answer. Good. 1 for 2. I was a bit worried there. I thought you went with the first one. I thought, now let's see how the second one goes. So 1 for 2. Good. Tomato sauce, cupboard or fridge?
Fridge.
Good. I always give everyone a point here, so that's why probably no one's ever under 3. But anyway, 2 for 3. Favorite food?
Pasta.
That's a good answer. So that's an easy way to get a point too. 3 for. Food you don't like?
Sweet potato.
Okay. 4 out of 5. See, this is just cruising. After that first one, I thought, oh no. And favorite takeaway / restaurant place or type of restaurant?
Favorite. I used to have this like my favorite Mexican place, but it's shut down now. But it was called Gringo Vibes.
Okay. Did you have a go-to order there?
Yeah, just like a black bean burrito.
Very nice and simple. 5 out of 6. See, never in doubt. Now, what are some of your most prized possessions, Lulu, that you own?
I don't know. I feel like I'm not that super like, what's the word?
Into keeping things.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have like I'm not super like nostalgic. Like I feel like I don't have like really meaningful items or anything. But
no Guernseys, no memorabilia, nothing like that.
Really, nothing that's like that important to me. Like I have a bunch of like jumpers and stuff, but I guess I have little boxes of like full of like little memory stuff, but nothing like that relevant.
Very nice. Game day superstitions. I hear so many. Some people just like to keep it nice and basic. Do you have any game day superstitions, Lulu, you must do?
I like to have no routine. Like the less routine, the better, which I feel like is like the opposite to a lot of people. But I feel like I get too superstitious if I try and like keep things consistent. And I'm like, if I play a bad game, I'm like, I can't do this, this, and this. So like the less I can think about a game before a game, the better, which means I just have to like try and just live like my day like I would normally, which is I don't have plans in my life normally. So therefore I don't plan my days before games.
So you don't want to overcomplicate it, do you? I mean, then you could just go, any which way at all. Now, if you could have any superpowers, what would those superpowers be?
I would probably want like to fly, I guess. Who doesn't want to fly? Like
that's true.
That's transportation, so I wouldn't have to like pay for petrol. That'd be nice.
Yes, I was just going to say, that's a part of the flying bit, I reckon too. Yeah, you don't have to pay no flights, no train, no bus, no car, no nothing. It'd be nice and cruisy. You could even actually having a flying skill. You could jump into the MCG on Grand Final Day or Icon Park for AFLW Grand Final and not have to pay a cent because you just go over the top and no one will notice. It's not just someone flying over the top. No, not noticeable at all. Now, nicknames, Lulu. Obviously, being a short name, there may not be as many nicknames, but what are some nicknames you get that you like or dislike?
I don't get many. Obviously, people shorten it to Lou, but it's actually like probably less common. Actually, it's become more common. And then I used to get Smelly at Carlton because it's kind of a long story, but when I was a train on, I was just kind of sitting there and Jess Good and Mimi Hill were like calling each other Smelly Jess and Smelly Mim. And they just like included me and like called me Smelly Lulu. And then I don't know, like that really meant a lot to me at the time as a trainer. Like I was just this little like 17-year-old girl who was like, oh my God, these really cool AFLW players are like talking to me. So like I like kept it up. And then when I got drafted, it just really stuck. And like, especially with Mim, like we just call each other Smelly now. So that's kind of cute. I actually like pardon?
That could be a band name for all three of you. All three of you would have a band name. Well, I mean, you all got the same nickname there.
Yeah, true.
Now,
and then I don't really get anything else. People try, but it's nothing else has really ever stuck.
No, that's good. Now, mark or goal of the year, which one would you rather pull off and why? It doesn't matter how unrealistic it may be. Which one would you rather do?
Mark, 100%.
Any particular reason?
I just like every year I'm like, my goal this year is to take a specky, and it hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. But yeah, I think firstly it's definitely more realistic. Like to let alone for me to kick a goal, let alone goal of the year is highly unlikely. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like taking a specky would be like for so long, it would be so fun. I guess the beauty about if you kicked goal of the year, if you kicked a really good goal, like you get the immediate gratification, like you get the
Oh, yes.
celebration. You can like,
Yes.
you know, if you take a mark, you have to keep playing, which kind of shit, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It is shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why I love asking this, because with the goal, like you said, you can celebrate and carry on for a good minute when the ball's retrieved back and all that stuff. Where the mark, like you said, you're in that moment, no matter if it's in the forward 50, the back line, the wing, whatever, you have to stop,
Yeah.
don't you? And you can't continue. So anyway, I've got a few more for you, Lulu. So I do appreciate you coming on. Obviously with goal celebration, obviously you said you don't kick many goals. What are some go-to goal celebrations that you got?
I don't have any. I literally haven't kicked a goal I kicked a goal in the VFL practice match, so hopefully
Okay.
there's one coming in
Yes.
VFL, but I haven't kicked a goal since like junior footy. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's been a long time. So yeah, I haven't had much practice with celebrating them.
No thought. So what happened in that practice match one then? Was there anything? Was it just, oh, great, I got a goal? Or,
I got like, I had a head knock and I was like on the ground and like the trainer came out and he was like, are you okay? Like whatever. And I kind of looked up and I saw that I was in such a good position. I was like, I'm fine. So I got up and then like got the ball, like ran, kicked the goal, it like dribbled through, and then I just ran straight to the bench because I literally had to get tested for a concussion. But
yeah. Well, that's all right. I mean, not that concussion part, the goal part. But no, there's nothing sweet. I mean, I do goal kicking challenges, and I feel like that's the only thing I was ever good at when I did play was doing kicking goals. So when you say about marks and goals, I mean, they're both fantastic. I feel like for me, goals are better because I just feel like you get that carry on, you get your bit of me time. And now, if you were to pull off that mark that you mentioned, would you be one to share it back online?
I'd want to, but I wouldn't be able to.
In terms of like, you feel like someone
maybe
like
on
it?
TikTok, but not on like Instagram.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you're pulling off 2.5 million or 4 million or whatever the number was you said I mean, if that's what's going to rack it in for something like that, yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you keep bringing it up. Now, the last two I got for you, so appreciate you coming on, is if you're in charge of the AFLW competition, Lulu, I feel like sometimes I feel like with the team sheets into our list in terms of like on field, like, you know, you got less players on the field and everything like that. What are some rules you would like to implement into the AFLW competition that you feel like that isn't in right now that should be added, or something that should be removed?
Like as in just in the actual game or just in
general? Yeah, like anything to do, say, with, you know, longer quarters, more games in season and everything like that. Is there anything in particular you would add and change? It's not there now.
Well, as I said before, list sizes would definitely be my first thing. I don't think it's beneficial to anyone if like every year there's train-ons playing. I think that definitely has to be something that changes in the next few years, especially when seasons do start to get longer. It's just not realistic that you're going to have full lists. And like, I think also it's just going to be so much better for the sport if you can have players on your list who are developing and they don't have to be ready to go in their first season. That's going to help across rookies. That's going to help like draftable players, especially like you see a lot in men's footy, like they'll draft really tall, skinny rucks and like they're obviously not going to play straight away, but like one day they'll probably be really, really good. It might take them 3 seasons to get a game though. I think that would be really important for the growth. Obviously, season length is a big one. It doesn't really make sense if you don't play every single team in the competition, in my opinion. But that's coming, I guess, slowly, and whatever that is, what it is. And actual rules on the field, I probably like most of them. I don't mind lasso.
Okay.
I've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's in the arcs anymore. But
Sure, you mentioned obviously you've been in both comps, the AFLW and VFLW, and do you feel like the seasons, like a when they're played, should they be brought closer together? Should they be at the exact same time with the overlap? How do you feel that would ideally go if it in an ideal world?
yeah, that's a great question. I feel like they should be aligned. I think we've just had our head coach who's been coaching us the whole preseason. He's just accepted a role at Essendon.
Yeah, seen that.
AFLW. So now, it means our whole coaching has changed. And we're still doing everything the same, but that wouldn't happen if the seasons were aligned because you'd already have your coaches in your AFLW clubs. And
yes,
I think that's just another factor of things that don't really work when you don't sort of have them aligned. But yeah, when I was on an AFLW list and I was playing VFL, it was just complicated because you're pretty much playing 2 seasons in a year. There's players like Mia Austin. Mia played 7 VFL games and then kind of burnt out and then had to play 10 AFL games. And so I think it's just having to have pretty much 2 seasons in a year just doesn't really make sense. And then also as a fringe player, scrimmages are just not fun. They're not it. You're playing with at least 13 other girls you've never even talked to before. It's very selfish footy. Everyone's playing a different game plan. It's really hard to show what you want to show. So I completely understand from that perspective. And then what it looks like for a club like Darebin, I guess, is probably a bit hard because you kind of fall into that every team would then be playing AFLW players all the time. So
yes,
what does that look like for clubs like Darebin and Williamstown and Port Melbourne? I don't know. Potentially there's more turnover though, more of those better VFL players maybe come to those sorts of clubs just so they can get a game every week. They're not getting pushed out by AFLW players. I don't know, you see it in the men's though, Preston and never really very good. So is that going to work? Is that a viable option for those sorts of teams, or does that kind of make them a little bit less relevant, I guess?
Yes. It's a great point you make, and I didn't even actually think of that. Actually, if you align it, it's just going to be like the VFL is now, and the men's is you're going to have those players that might be solid at VFL level, and they're just going to get pushed out if they're an AFL affiliated side. Because if the AFL club doesn't have injuries or AFLW, they're getting pushed back, and it definitely cannot be on this side. Now, two-part question. If this last one, so I appreciate you coming on. Is who do you feel is the best player in the AFLW competition, and what is your bold call in either comp for this season?
Okay. Best player in the AFLW.
Very hard one. It's not blatantly obvious. I feel like you could have Mon Conti, Jazz Garner, Ebony Marinoff, Ash Riddell. There's so many names in that spot. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of think, you can't really go that far past Jazz Garner, can you? She's just so consistent. And I think her ability to impact on the scoreboard is probably what sets her apart from those other ones a bit. She I think she averages a goal a game as well as her insane disposal stats and stuff. So I think she's really good. She also but I feel if you look at Mon Conti, Mon is a very exciting player, and she kind of just makes something out of nothing. So on that level, I would say she's far above and beyond everyone. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, Mon's only just turned 25. I think she's already a 6-time best and fairest winner, a league best and fairest winner, and a 3-time All Australian. I think that's just in 6 or 7 years. And a premiership player. That's pretty bloody impressive already, and halfway through.
Yeah.
And then your bold call for the VFL season or the AFL season coming up.
Well, I wouldn't say this is a bold call, but we're going to make finals. Darebin's going to make finals. This it might be bold to other people, but for us, it's just what it is. And I would say for AFL, I feel like Gold Coast aren't going to win a game.
In the AFLW.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had a big drop off, didn't they? The year before when they made finals in their inaugural season was great. And then last year they dropped off dramatically with not much changes, and now they've had a lot of changes. And yeah, I could see something like that potentially happening. I wouldn't put it past that happening.
Yeah.
For sure. Lulu, it's been a pleasure having you on. All the best for tomorrow and your second stint back at Darebin. Hopefully it goes well and for the whole season, in fact. And then hopefully at the end of this time next year, we're not talking about we're hoping about you back on an AFLW list, Lulu. So I really do appreciate you coming on and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.